Show us your tips, Daggy Beaver, with you for a weekend preview as usual. How are you travelling, Beaver?
Travelling very well, Dagster. Can't complain, mate. Weather's a little bit gloomy, but we're here and ready for another review of racing for this Saturday as we move to Flemington, Scone and Doomben. Yeah,
well, as it turns out, one of us did Doomben this week and one did Scone, thanks to some of our incredible communication. So the punters get all three today. Doomben 10,000 Day, the feature obviously up north. The Scone Carnival's in action, and a pretty good card from Flemington as well, which is where we'll start because we'll then rush through each of our thoughts on the other couple. Very quickly, you had a close show. You nearly had a full clean-up last week. Close, but
I nearly had a big clean-up. Last leg of a 6-leg multi. She's a hustler at Morphettville, probably the anchor leg. Awfully ridden, sitting in the breeze, stepping up for 2,000, and probably just had to hit the front too early and do the bullocking work. And a horse that didn't have a lot of good exposed form from Sydney managed to blouse it. Bit disappointed in the ride and the outcome, but it's punty.
Yeah, not a bad weekend apart from that. But sorry to hear. That's why they race again tomorrow. You'll get it back then, don't worry.
Yeah, famous last words.
But we'll start with, given it's the one we've both focused on, let's start at Flemington this afternoon, where we're on a good track. The weather looks pretty good too. Maybe a late shower, but from what I can see, that hopefully comes through much later in the afternoon. Kick off, rail 4, 4 metre position. It should be Flemington, should be okay. 1,100 metres kicks us off up the straight, and we've got a 3-year-old race. Starting us off, who have you found in the first?
Yeah, interesting race to start the day here. A fair few in the market are coming off some good winning form, albeit some of them at some of the more provincial tracks. I've gone for the one on top, number 6, One Hard Lady. I had the 3 starts, 3 wins. Around Albury and Gundagai, I think.
Wagga was one of them. Yeah.
And they've been fairly impressive, actually. Started a long odds on last start at Albury, and that was a very nice win, just sat midfield and put pay to him fairly comfortable there. I think this horse is a horse on the way up. It's packed with potential, and I've got it on top. But there's plenty of chances in behind it. You could pick 4 or 5 here and still do well, run like an encryption, resume well from the Brisbane stable. Harry's Yacht's got some ability, and then even horses, the Chauvinist from the Hay stable and the Kennewell Yeoman's horse, Madame Maserati, they've all got abilities. So keen to look at how this one plays out, and I think some good form will come out of this.
I'm with you. I'm with One Hard Lady. I think it has done what it's done so far pretty comfortably. It should stack up this grade on top for me. And I thought the one at a price, which will improve, it was stuck back and wide on the leader's track behind Harry's Yacht, and that's Grinzinger Sun. I think it will improve here back to Flemington with a more even playing surface. The second is a 2-year-old race, 1,400 metres. My best of the day comes up here in number 1 Highvol. I really liked its win to sit on debut, to sit outside the leader over 1,400 metres and just fight everyone off. I thought it was a great showing. I think it gets a softer run, has to improve, and should have everything behind it in that lead up covered. I had the Danger coming back over as the opportunist, the Hayes horse there, but this is a nice horse and should have more improvement. So gonna go with this week after I didn't declare the 2-year-old last week the best bet. Away from that, at about 50s, Hot Sand has trialled really well and might be a forgotten horse. For the exotics, who have you found?
Yeah, I think you've found the 2 that hold the key. I'm just flipping them. I'm going the opportunist. I think this is finally broke through last start. That was impressive. It was in open company at Warrnambool on a slightly rain-affected ground, but really put pay to him. I like the way that it sat there, sprinted, and just shown that natural improvement there. Love the stable. It's flying, gets 2 kilo benefit here, and I think it might just get the right run. Highvol definitely the hardest to beat, but at the price, I just went the other way.
The third is a 1,200 metre benchmark, 78. Who have you come up with here?
Yeah, another interesting, tricky race here, $5 the field with plenty of chances. I'm going for Quaisine, or Cuisine, I
Christine,
think
yeah.
maybe is
Close enough.
that. It's flying at the moment, going very well, drawn very well here in the four, going for three on the trot here. I think again another horse that's just positioning up well, just off the pace, will put itself in the race, and a nice little progressive type in a very open field. So gets three kilos off the favourite, and I'm hoping that might be the difference.
I was pretty comfy covering two that are going to be up on pace in this one. The first is Love Zoo. I think it's got back to a bit of form its last two runs, and just over race last time out. That was behind Pariah Pearl. And if it gets a cozier time and gets into stride, hopefully Carleen Heffel lets it run. It will give you a side at about $10. And the other one at the same price was Zabella. I thought its last run behind a pretty good horse was quite good here. Who did it chase last time? Excess. In a reasonable race. I think Bior Bay was also in that race. He came out and ran okay the other day. They're both going to be sort of 1-2, and I like that setup. I was scared of Beaver's selection, and I thought Here Comes the Star was the other one you'd look at from an early quaddie point of view. The fourth is a 1400-metre handicap, which I thought was a nearly impossible race for me. Where'd I go? I went looking for Daggers on top. Actually, I think it's ready for 1400 metres. And with very little confidence, I'll make it the top pick from... where else did I go? Super Photon was interesting. It opened a big price, has come in since, coming over from New Zealand. And I don't have much more to add. I didn't really like the rest of this race. Tricky one here. What do you think?
Yeah, certainly a tricky one. I don't disagree with you there. Plenty of chances. I've gone for Daggers as well. I think it's just probably back a little bit in grade here, which suits, and just working. I think its runs this time in haven't been all that bad. Its first up run was very, very good, and then went to the listed race, got back in the field, and ran on and finished on okay, only 3 lengths behind Alabama Lass. And then they took it to Morphettville and was 11th in the run, and only finished 4 lengths behind Reserve Bank, who come out and won the Goodwood. So I think that form line is pretty good. That was in a Group 2 quality. So again, back in class here, I think it can run well. Calcalo, being consistent, I thought it would probably had the right run to probably win.
Just had every chance last time.
Easier.
Yeah,
and I think so. Maybe that helps and the penny drops there. But I just thought again at the price, I think Dagger's back in grade, and I just think it's probably the best horse in this race.
If Just for Show can overcome that gate, that was the other horse I failed to mention there from the Hayes team. I think it's going all right well as well. The fifth is a 2,000 metre handicap, where the only horse I really got interested in was Somewhere. I thought its 2 lead-up runs are pretty good. I think out to 2,000 metres now suits. And that wasn't a bad run last time out in Adelaide, just ground home over a mile. As I said, 2,000 metres shouldn't be too bad. I couldn't get too excited about the other alternatives, to be honest, with some lightly race ones that may jump out of the ground out to a distance. They're a little bit scary, but not a huge betting race to me. Something each way on Somewhere, and maybe even a small bet on the showrunner who's come over from New South Wales, won well at Balaclava, now has come to Melbourne. I thought it was slightly interesting with Linda Meach on a leader. But what have you found?
Yeah, I'm keen Dana, however they want to say it, can run really well here. Working into it, now gets out to the 2,000 from the Waller stable. These are perfect races that Waller just steps them up and gets to that 2,000, and they just win. This is not an overly difficult field, and this just looks like a very winnable race for a horse of this nature. All runs to date have been pretty good. Gets in with 54, so gets a weight pull off most of these. Can posse out well from gate 3 and has a good jock on board. So for me, I got it clear on top and think the price is pretty decent.
The sixth is a 1,200 metre listed race, a straight 6. Not the strongest listed race I've ever seen. Who have you found on top?
Yeah, it's not the strongest listed race you've ever seen, and that's why I think the horse with the winning form is good form here, and that's King Zephyr. Hard to really go past it. Stable's flying. This should suit it. The horse is flying, and I think it puts paid at ease. And as beat, shouldn't have any trouble beating these ones up. Clear on top for me. One of the better bets.
Yep, it's on top for me as well. The only danger for me is running by. Resuming here is a nice horse. The 7th is the Andrew Ramsden, which leads to a free ticket in the Melbourne Cup later in the year. I'm not sure any of these will be winning a Melbourne Cup, but Knights Templar won one last year, so who knows? The way I've gone, though, is I decided that if Athabaskan comes here still firing and not too deep into a prep off the Autumn Carnival, I think it's nearly a good thing. I think the form behind Alcasance, the form behind coming out of the Sydney Cup, all looks really good. Gets Ben Mellum, who's one of the better jocks on this card today, and you're getting about $5. It's on top for me. From Fineo, who you were on last week, that was a nice win, backs up, and hits a pretty average race. I'm just sick to death of all the rest of them, so they're the two I've gone with. What about you?
Yeah, look, tricky race here. I think you could probably run it 5 times and get 5 different results. I just got one that's sort of working into its prep, and I like the last start win in Alma Rise from the Moody Coleman stable. Won the Echuca Country Oaks last start, and I thought that was a pretty good win. Just finished that off nicely over the 2100, carried 57 back in the field and just put paid to him fairly comfortably there. After a couple of fairly decent runs prior to that, kind of resumed in a group race over 1600, went okay, backed it up with a solid run without doing a lot over the 2000, and then at full fitness, one last start. Out to the 2800 now, but I expect it can run well and maybe a little bit more progressive than some of these. Some of the others I just can't follow. But you're right, Fineo, I'm not going to let slip under my guard at 20s. That was, it's the most consistent horse here. We'll run the distance, and it goes well.
The 8th is a 1600 metre benchmark 100. Who do you like in this one?
Oh, look, this is not the easiest race as well. There's a couple of horses in this that I just can't back. I can't follow. Every time I have, I've been burnt, and I'd prefer to be not on them and get burnt than back them and not. So I think we know they're Vidad and Charlton Lane, so I'm penning them, and I'm going for Wings of Song.
Okay, wow.
Third up, I do like the third up here. First up was in again, Open Company behind Zalotti's. Finished off nicely in that race. That was quite an impressive run, carrying to 59, and then went to Group 2 and again finished behind Zalotti's, but only less than 2 lengths. Drew wide, had to go back and finished off quite nicely there. Gets the 2 kilo claim here, 53.5 on the back is perfect. Third up, and again, this is very much a winnable race.
Regal Zeus sat outside prior to Jenny last start. Not many horses have done that and come off too well. I'm forgiving that. And if you go back before that, it has a win over... its last start before that has a win over Smoke and Princess, who was flying at the time. Before that had a win over Bossy Nick, who was flying at the time. It gets complete control here, unless something like Rolls pushes up underneath it. And I thought at $12 it was quite a reasonable bet. So it's on top for me. The two you mentioned, Vidad and Wings of Song, and same as Super Right, so you can throw that in there. They're all going okay. They just don't tend to win. I just thought back in the leader, coming off a much cozier time without having to tussle with Pride of Jenny, looks pretty good to me at the double figure mark there. The last is 1800 metre benchmark 84, and how am I coming home with another leader? No, I'm not going to go to Liberami instead. Geez, there's been money for it, actually. I've been with this horse all the way through its prep until last start when I didn't back it in at 1. So go figure. I think it's now ready for this distance and meets a more than winnable race. The leader I was talking about is Ambassador. I thought ran all right last time. Quick back up in distance again, probably suits. It'll push forward and is worth having a saver on. But I think Liberami can run well here because a lot of these are not going anywhere near their best. What are your thoughts on the last?
True. I think Liberami is one of the obvious, but I think it's a bit skinny at 6 to 4.
It was $3. It was nearly $4 when I did the form. $3.50.
Yes, yeah. I'm going to go for the horse with the Sydney form.
Yeah, okay.
In McGarton.
Yep.
Again, third up here, Jet Stanley is going quite well at the moment, and that was a good run. It's behind the favourite in the big race at Scone tomorrow in Know Thyself. Settled sort of a bit worse than midfield and flew home, only a length and a bit behind it, carrying 58 and a half. Drops here to 56, so it gets a bit of a weight pull here. Sydney form is good form when they come back to Melbourne. And its first up run wasn't too shabby as well. So after a couple of nice trials. So I think this horse is going okay. And around the $10 mark, I'm quite confident he can run really well. Definitely Liberami as the main danger. There's not a lot else in this.
Love it. No, agree. Give us your quaddie for Flemington on Andrew Ramsden Day.
Yeah. Let's start in the first leg, which is race 6. Going a bit skinnier here to be able to load up a little bit later. Just going with 2 here. I'm going number 1, Limbs Kosciuszko, the Singapore horse, and number 11, King Zephyr. I think they both hold the key. In the Andrew Ramsden, the second leg, looking a bit wider here. I'm going to go in no particular order: 12 Berkshire Breeze, 1 Smoke and Romans, 18 Alma Rise, 14 Denmark, and 20 Fineo. In the third leg, quite tricky race here. I'm going to leave out the 2 that I just don't like. I'm going 10 Wings of Song, 5 Super Razi, 13 El Rocco, and 4 Regal Zeus. And to finish off in the last of the day, I'm going number 10, Magarten, number 17, Liberami, number 5, La Zebra, and number 8, Typhoon Harmony.
Very good. My best there is race 2, number 1, Highvol, but I also am quite keen on King Zephyr, and I think Athabaskan will run well. My value, race 8, number 12, King Zeus. What about yours?
Yeah, my best bet comes up in race 6, number 11, King Zephyr, and my value bet comes up in race 8, number 10, Wings of Song.
Lovely. Do you want to rush through Scone first, or do you need to go straight to Doomben?
No, we can rush through Scone first. Happy to oblige.
10 races at Scone, a soft 7 there. On the backup, obviously, from today. Generally, last few years, sometimes it's been very much up the inside on this day, but we'll hope all things are equal here. Kick off with a 1,700-metre midway, benchmark 72. As usual, Beaver, who do you like?
Awful race, awful way to start the day. Wasn't overly keen on anything here. If I had to have a bet, number 12, Perfect Justice.
The second is a Class 3 highway over the mile, $8 the field, if you don't mind. Who has caught your fancy?
I don't mind saying I don't really like too much in this race, but for the punters, if they want to have a bet, number 4, Rouge Moulin.
The third is the Yarram Park Woodland Stakes 1,100-metre race for the babies. What's caught your eye on this one?
Yeah, interesting little race, this one. Look, I'm pretty keen that number 6, Stardom, who finished third in its first start behind the favourite, but came out last start and won very nicely from the Waterhouse Bot stable. I think there's a lot of upside to this horse. Got probably caught in the wrong part of the track. First up, second up, showed it was good. Horse, I got it on top, number 6.
The fourth is a benchmark 72, and this was one of the bets I actually had penciled in if we were mentioning this. I really like Diamond Lil resuming here. I like Inside Gate. I thought trials were superb, and last prep was pretty good. I'm not sure there's too many chasers, so it would have been my best on the card. In this circumstance, have you found an alternative?
No, I haven't. Also keen on this. Got the Inside Gates, got the best form last preparation. First up here goes well, and I think the $3.60 at the moment. Nice odds. I think it probably starts shorter than that.
Very good. The fifth is a benchmark 78 out to 1,700 metres. Again, a wide open field. Anything you want to dabble into?
Yeah, I've got 2 here that I thought you could back both, and that's number 19.
How did I know?
You knew, Matt, when they're at Scone and they're winning, hard to go away from them on their home track. And so I think around the $10 mark, nice little bet. That's the 19. And I also thought the 18, Cormac T. was a late scratching last start. So backing up here, I think it can run well.
Kind words. Chris Lee's also at home might be, at Scone, I should say. Could finally get back towards its best there. The 6 is a benchmark 78. Who have you come up with in this one?
Yeah, I've come up with the 15 resuming here, left field. Can mix its form a little bit.
The trials were sensational because I really liked it in Queensland as well.
Yeah, and so depending on where it runs, but I think if it starts
I assume it's here
now. It can run really, really well. 6 lengths behind Miss Rumbini last start up at the Gold Coast, but then was spelled after a nice win prior to that. Goes okay fresh, has won 2 of its 4 first up. I think it can run well here and has been trialling well.
Lovely. The quaddie kicks off with the 1100 metre Denise's Joy Stakes for the fillies. Who do you like?
Yeah, I narrowed it down to 2 here. I'm going to stick with the favourite Soft Love that comes from Melbourne. There've been a couple of really nice wins since preparation. This time in, winning an open class race, beating Thames last start fairly comfortably. I think it holds. I think it'll beat Hit Home, particularly given the draw as well. One's got the inside and one's got close enough to the outside. So Soft Love on top. I think the main danger is Gerringong from the Waterhouse Bot stable in the Denise Joyce colours. So look out for that. Interestingly enough, so I've got it as the hardest to beat.
The Hortensia Stakes is the other feature on the card. 1100 metre sprint. Again, wide open field. Brudenell backs up from just getting nabbed at Wyong last week. I think it's a run now. If not, it's in the last as well. I'll be having something on it again, but who have you come up with?
Yeah, look, $7.50 the field. This is one of the harder races to find a winner. I narrowed it down to 3. I'm going to put I Am Unstoppable on top. I think it's the best horse in the race if it's at its top. Probably at that price because it's drawn absolutely off the track in 17. May come in a little bit. Does like the sting out of the ground. So that's very much a tick in its favour. Hasn't missed too many placings in its actual its career. One of those being in a Group 1, High on Sunshine in Paris. So I think it's definitely a huge chance in this race. $12. So I'm going to play that. Main 2 dangers. Number 10, The Novelist, resuming here for Waterhouse Pot. I think it can run well fresh. And I'm thinking number 15, Fleetwood, could pop up. Was okay first up. Runs are spaced. Gate 14 means it will go back. And if the pace can be on, might produce a nice finish. But probably the first 2 are the main 2 I'll be backing.
The Dark Jewel Classic is up next. It's over 1,400 metres, another black type race for the girls. Anyone you like in this 20-horse field?
Yeah, tricky race. Another one at double figure odds that if you want to have a bet, number 5, Kitty Rose, the European horse. I think it can run well. Gets its first run here. Hasn't been fully tested in a couple of trials. Started the trials in Cranbourne, then come to Rose Hill. Now coming to race day here from the Price Kent stable. This isn't an overly difficult field. Might be short of its best, but could run well in this.
Beauty. I'm going to wrap up with the 1,300 metre Luskin Star Stakes. Who are we coming home with?
They're going to finish the day with the favourite Gallant Star. Just purely consistent here. Won first up and then been around about the money the last 2. Was only just pipped by Cool Jakey at Hawkesbury last start. Just couldn't get past it. But I think, again, from gate 5 here, can get the right run. And I think it'll be winning the last.
Beautiful. Do you want to have a crack at a Scone quaddie, or should we let that one through the keeper?
We'll let that go through the keeper and we'll move on to Doomben, my friend.
Let's get to Doomben, where the feature race of the day is the Doomben 10,000 at Group 1 level. At currently a soft 7. I believe there's rain around today, which is the major concern. So I've treated it as being a heavy track. But the weather bureaus have not been my friends in the last 12 months. Treat it as heavy. Let's see if the rain does turn up and who might be in. We kick off on, if it is wet with the Rail True, I suspect it might be difficult to make ground as the day goes on. Benchmark 85 over the mile is up first. And I may as well get back into this with tipping the favourite here in Fukubana. Last two starts it's made Know Thyself work pretty hard. A horse Beaver's a huge fan of. I think it takes up the lead here, or if not, gets into the 1-1 for J-Mac. And being a done deal, the wet shouldn't be a problem at all. So it's on top for me. I think Victory Win is a live chance and the main danger. Just didn't run the trip out over the 1,800 metres. Now goes back to its pet distance and will improve off that. The two ones. For me to start the day at Doomben, do you want to jump in here, Beaver, or just jump in when you're feeling the...
No, I'll jump in here. I'm going with you here. I think looks the hardest to beat here for Cabana. This all looks perfect draw here. Got the right jock, and this is a very winnable race. Clearly on top for me.
Second is a benchmark 78 out to the 1350. Any thoughts on this one?
I do like the second favourite here in Deep Respect. Drawn the inside gate here, so I think it can posse up quite nicely and get a good sort of track into this race here. It was pretty good last start, just missing behind a horse that's kind of led and is hard to get past in Sir Joe. With some natural improvement here, second up, I think it can run well from the right draw.
I had the favourite on top again, Winsome Star. I think Wet Track is its friend. A couple of trials since the win and fits this race pretty well. Down in weights, down the bottom there, Jealous was the main danger for me. Wet Track is another tick for it. And On Point at 20-1 can run a hell of a race here. It'll go forward with the claim and get through the conditions pretty well. The third is a 1350, this time for the 3-year-olds. And I was a bit spooked by the Wet Track for this, so I've gone to look for a couple at value. And I might go all the way around Pisces, which will probably piss in because I've jumped off it. Specking 2, Southern Charm, filly down the bottom here, coming off a win. Its last two starts have gone quite well. And as I said, getting Tim Clark on for the young girl, taking up a position, it will improve. And Apuntar was good last time out. Wet Track can help it turn around on its no-luck run last time out. Another one at a big price. I was looking towards them. Good Luck to Me doesn't handle the conditions. We saw that when it ran in Sydney on a heavy track. It couldn't pick up its legs, so I was taking it on. And it's now been a while between drinks for Pisces, which is why I've more or less had enough of it. What are you thinking here?
No, I'm going to stick with Pisces. Gate 3 is perfect here. Gets J-Mac on board in probably what's the easiest race it's had for some time now. It's been in Group 3, listed. And this is back to sort of open company 3-year-olds. I think it can run well, and I think it gets the right draw here. It wasn't far away from it. Flew home last start from well back in the field. Again, can posse up and be hard to beat here.
The fourth is a mile, Burnborough Quality Handicap. Have you got anything tickle your fancy?
Tough race here. I think I'm leaning towards number 7 here, Rising Pacific. Gut flying at the moment, and in these types of fields, these horses seem to just keep bobbing up. So you keep getting a decent price, and it keeps winning. It's pretty open affair, but winning form's good form, so that's why I've got it on top.
Me too. I thought it was easy to like. I think 1,800 back to the mile over a Wet Track suits, and it beat Manzoice home last time out, who was a former Group 1 winner. It's on top from the stablemate in Tenzing, the main danger for me. The fifth is the Spirit of Boom Classic, the 2-year-olds here. I've got a feeling on a Wet Track something might jump out of the ground in this race. I've put Grafter Burners on top. Thought its last win was great. The trial since was great. The Wet Track being out of Graf shouldn't be an issue. And the run in Sydney behind, it was only a length off Rivellino and eating up the ground. That's Golden Slipper form. Gets Jay Collett just for good measure. So I was putting it on top. I think Beskar's going to run well. I think Wet Track will suit it. It's a Schnitzel filly and did come into that Sydney race with a spruik, and it will be the saver for me. Kilman, I thought, was a KO shot from the Wallace stable. What are you doing here?
No, I'm pretty keen Beskar can run really well here. I've got it on top. Again, perfect draw here. And I think there's going to be a lot of natural improvement after that first up run. Finished off really nicely there. I think we're going to see some more natural improvement, and I think that natural improvement will take it a long way to winning this.
Lovely. The 6 is a 2,000 metre Chairman's Quality Handicap. You got something you like?
Interesting race, this one. We've got the resuming from the Waterhouse stable, the European horse. So keen to see how it goes. But I'm going to stick with immediacy from the Bustle and Young stable. Again, just flying at the moment, finding the line, knows how to win, sits on the pace. And from gate 2, I think that's going to put it in good stead here. So I've got it on top, with the main danger being the favourite.
I'm with the favourite. Its last start was in the Arc de Triomphe. None of these horses would get close to getting anywhere near being allowed near the race course, let alone running in it. It started $17 in that race. 3 trials to get ready for this. Its latest was its best, but they've put the work into it. They're long distance trials or 1,200 metre trials. If it turns up and handles the conditions, it'll win. They won't see which way it went, but I am scared of immediacy, given it is flying. Its only wet track miss was in the Derby when Riff Rocket brained everyone, and the run itself wasn't too bad. I think there's only two winning chances, really, for me. The 7th is the Bright Shadow, 1,100 metre listed race for the girls. And I think Kin and In Flight can fight it out, both coming through that Hawkesbury lead-up. J-Mac jumps on Kin, had to duck back to the inside, had to cover ground, then duck back to the inside at Hawkesbury. With a bit of luck here, I think it's going to run really well. In Flight, obvious. And I was going to make the big song and dance about left field, but it's at Scone, so just back it there. It'll win there. You like anything here?
I'm going the top weight, Tiger Shark.
Okay. Yeah.
That was a good resumption there. Horse that showed a little bit of ability last time in, went and had the easy kill at Caloundra in preparation for this. Got to carry the 59, but carried 59.5 last start. But if you go back and watch that win, it was pretty good. And then prior to that, I ran second in a listed race behind Golden Boom. So I think it can run really well in this, and onwards and upwards. So Tiger Shark for me at nearly double figure odds.
Beauty. Feature is the Doomben 10,000, $1.5 million, 1,200 metre weight for age Group 1. Have you had a look at this one?
I have had a look at this one. Interesting race, good race. Be keen to see what you've come up with. I've come up with Swartz. I've got it on top. I think it's going to run really well in this. I know it was sort of had the benefit last start at Moonee Valley in more of a leader's bias track, but it jumped out, led, and ran them ragged. I think probably gets similar here. It probably goes forward and proves really hard to catch here. Can dominate this race from up front. Williams aboard, super hard to beat. Main danger, or main 2 dangers, Sunshine in Paris. I think it's certainly a big chance in a race like this. Made good ground behind Briassa and a couple of lengths off them in the TJ. And Benedetta, who chased home Swartz, can run well as well. But keen to see what you've got to say.
You wouldn't read about it. I've got to tip Swartz. So it's on top. I think he gets a great run. I think it tags over with Overpass. The track is what drove me away from some of the others in the market. I think being a Zeus star, soft and even heavy shouldn't be too much of an issue for this. I think it just gets the perfect run, sitting right on Overpass's back and wins. I had Marzu as a danger. Eats up the wet, and I said there's been money for it overnight. Looked a good price. I don't think the wide gate would be too much of an issue. And like everyone else, I might even have something at 50s on V8, who's resuming gelded here and felt like a forgotten horse in this one. If it does get to a bog, I don't think Sunshine in Paris and Benedetta get through the conditions that well. So that's why I was looking at the 2 that I think will. But very interesting, we've come up with the same numbers there.
Yes.
Let's wrap up a Group 3, 2,000 metres. And Belle de Tel, I was giving it half a chance chasing Treasure of the Moment last time out. Different class. That horse, of course, but comes back to a nice race. Gets J-Mac. Gets back to 2,000 metres. I'll freshen up. I think it's going to run really well. Firm agreement's now very deep, but coming off the placing in the Derby will run well as well. Has to drop back to 2,000. I think they're the 2 key hopes in the last. Anything for you?
I'm going to stick with you as well. I've got Belle de Tel as well. Prior to last start was flying, and there's no No X against your name for running a couple of lengths behind Treasure at the moment over the 2400 at its last start. So that's comes back here to the 2000, which I think's more suited to this horse, and won the Group 3 prior to that in quite fine style. So pretty keen that $5 is a good price.
Fantastic. The Doomben 10,000 quaddie. First leg, 1 Sir Delius, 3 Immediacy and 6 Nereus. Second leg, 1 Tiger Shark, 2 In Flight, 3 Kin, and 13 has come out in left field. So we'll just go with the ski numbers there because we'll go wider in the feature. 1 Overpass. If the track's not too bad, it'll give you a great sight. 2 Schwartz, 3 Marzu, 4 V8, 12 Sunshine in Paris, 14 Benedetta, and 15 Lady Laguna. And we'll come home with 1 Firm Agreement, 2 Shangri-La Spring, 3 King of Thunder. I'm going to throw 10 Croupier in. Now we've lost left field. And 14 Belle de Tel. $100 gets you a third of that. My best at Doomben. Let's go with, what am I doing here? What's your best in value? Because I've just closed my window.
My best bet is race 5, number 8, Beskar. Like it on around the $5 mark. Pretty happy about that. And race 7, number 1, Tiger Shark is my value bet.
My best is Sir Delius, race 6, number 1. And my value with a couple in race 3. So that was number 4, Apuntar, and number 11, Southern Charm. I think we've covered all of Australia. Is there anything else? That's
nothing from me, my friend.
All it. Nothing. I didn't find much over in Adelaide or anything like that. There we go. 3 states, a whirlwind tour around the eastern seaboard. Some winners in there, no doubt. Good luck this weekend, punters. We'll do it all again soon. Catch us.
Love your work.